something right now.
Oh, I have it.
So someone really tall must have
Who
said,
sits here? Then they probably come and are like, who is so short? But, we can give Dave a couple more minutes if we want, or we can just jump in. You didn't hear anything from him, right?
he said he was coming.
Okay, we'll give him a couple minutes and see. It's not his fault, we were all actually early this week.
I
I
was
speak for
here,
myself.
I was here at 5:33 and I said, no.
No, that's fair.
But I was getting too comfy at home.
Yeah.
Hard to get up. Would have been hard.
Actually, it just got so sunny, it was cloudy for a bit. And all of a sudden it was like. We can go ahead and jump in, you can catch him up. Get here. I don't have any particular, like, agenda as far as which, topic we discussed first, but we were gonna talk about employee recognition, and we're gonna talk about performance assessment for the town manager position, so.
Yep.
I don't know if we wanna jump first, I'm happy to go either way, honestly. Unless anyone has any preference, no? We can jump into employee recognition then, since I think that was the initial reason why we set this. And then we just piggybacked onto it. Before we go too far, Lindsay, I just wanted to confirm the budget, was that 600 that was there?
I thought it was either 1,000 or 1,500. It wasn't more than 1,500.
I couldn't find my budget paper, I thought I had it.
That was a grand.
Okay,
That was 1,000.
okay.
That's.
I
We had so
1,000
many versions of that conversation
did.
during
Yeah.
budget time that
Yeah.
we started like really low and then we upped it a little bit and then I remember meeting in the middle,
Yeah,
but I don't remember what the middle was, so.
we could safely say 1,000.
Okay.
So we do have some specifics that we've already picked, like the date and is
September 6th.
that what it is?
That's my recollection. But
Yep, so we did
Don't
pick a
count on
date, September 6th.
It's a Saturday, right?
And I did survey the
Friday.
employees, so there's mixed review of, not everyone's an extrovert. And it's the first time we've ever done this, so I don't know what the turnout is gonna be. But I do know, half probably prefer like a day off gift card and half don't care either way.
Mhm.
So, we can try it or we can look at other stuff. I don't mind. But if we go the route, like say we plan for September 6th and originally we're going to just do it at the Pines with a rain date being here. We don't have any storage space for food. So we got to figure those logistics out.
What do people like? I don't eat at the office very often, so I mean,
They're not that fussy. Like burgers and hot dogs would be great.
So how many people are we talking total?
Who will attend? I don't know.
Well, just
Could
if
be
everybody-
anywhere
If
from-
everybody attended, how
Can I
many,
just do
how many
something?
actual employees?
this keeps messing with my head. Yeah. fix it.
Oh, thank you.
Keep looking at the wrong day.
I would say like 10 to 12.
10 to 12.
And that's what you think would attend, or that's in total?
That's in total if everybody showed up.
Okay.
So you might get half of that.
So one of the things that I've done at my work, we did like a big appreciation event. We did it as, and I'm not saying to do it this exactly this way, but we did food. So we did like a big breakfast one morning. And then we did like an item. So we did like, we had a little more budget to play with and our volume pricing helps us out. But we did like a pullover, like a USM pullover. So sometimes it's nice because then if you miss somebody because they're just not gonna come to an event or they're sick or they had, maybe whatever, for whatever reason they're not here, there's still something to show like, hey, we see you, we appreciate you.
Mhm.
Um,
So you want to do a mix of things?
if we're able to fit it in a budget.
Yeah,
That 10 to 12 includes transfer station. Okay,
Mhm.
that's, okay.
so are we doing it at the Pines?
If you guys want to do that, we can plan for it.
That's what I'm asking,
Okay.
what are you guys thinking? Cause
I think that was our initial thought,
Mhm.
and I'm fine either way,
Mhm.
honestly, like, I can, we think more people will come if it was here. I don't know the answer to that.
The consensus I gather is like not everyone is, wants to do a party. And some people don't mind.
Right,
So we're a very small organization. Like there's
The United States. Did I miss that?
oh,
Yeah.
great, it's a workshop day.
Um,
You're
we
good.
figure there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's probably like 6 or 7 of us in the office, and then you have the transfer station. So you're looking at like 12,
Yeah.
12 or so people, give or take. And then you guys.
Mhm.
So
I'm just trying to think of what would be best received, I don't know.
I personally, I like the idea. I know they like the idea of a day off or a half day. Because a lot of them reached out and was like, yeah, I'd actually, I know the transfer station would be excited about that.
Mm.
I know a lot of them reached out and said a gift card,
Mhm.
was something they wouldn't mind.
So what about shifting from going somewhere and doing something and having a party to actual, like the recognition things that you were talking about, a gift card to wherever, like nail spa or,
Mhm.
I don't know, I really don't know. That's the hard part. I mean, everybody likes food. I don't know what people, I don't know
Yeah.
specific likes, like, and
Mhm.
Or maybe an open-ended type of gift card so that the employee can decide.
can decide, yeah, that works.
And
Yeah, because we
we've
could
got
do
this
like,
planned, I'm sorry, we've got this planned on a Friday,
Yeah.
yes,
but the transfer station would be closed that day anyway, right?
Yeah, they would be.
Okay.
I like your idea, like a breakfast. Like, I think when I looked on the listserv, like some places in terms of, everybody does like food. It could be like you get them like fancy bagels or something in the morning, and then it's like a gift card or something. And I think at one point we talked about doing like handwritten thank you cards,
Yep.
Still have that on my list.
Yeah.
Yes,
which is more personal, I think.
Yeah. Maybe it is a gift card, like, I mean, if you,
that could be in it.
I mean, you could use it like Visa gift card, like you could,
Mhm.
and then that way they get to choose
Mhm.
where they get to use it,
Mhm.
which is also nice. Not like we just go to Hannaford and then they're like, I don't shop at Hannaford.
Right.
right.
Something like that. They get to actually use it for what they want.
Because it sounds like maybe that's what more employees would like better.
Right,
And forgive me if I'm wrong, but that's what it sounds like, kind of seems like you
That's-
said.
That's what I'm getting. I mean,
Right.
there are a few who are like, yeah, I don't care. And I know there's some that are just straight up introverts.
right.
So we could do
It's okay.
fancy bagels or even a pizza at noontime for that matter.
Yeah.
If in that kind of thing, and we could do all that here.
Mhm.
It would disrupt part of the day, but it wouldn't give, like the town hall wouldn't be closed for, for the day.
Mhm.
I don't know, what do you think?
I like that idea. For the town hall employees, I don't mean to complicate things, but for the transfer station employees, they're kind of coming in, but they don't necessarily have to come in
Mhm.
for that. So I was thinking
And then
of
honestly,
suggesting maybe the following day, Saturday, spring for lunch for them up there.
yeah, I don't,
And that
I don't
won't
think they
cover
would come
everyone
here.
though, either.
Yeah.
Not everyone would be at the transfer station at that given time either.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not trying to exclude
Is there
them.
is there a day when, I don't know the answer to this, I don't think there is, but is there a day when everyone's at the transfer station? No, it
it's
isn't.
typically 2,
Mm.
Yeah.
once in
I
a
thought so
while
too.
3, but it's usually 2 guys.
Yeah. because we run into that with shift work and then we basically just cater to that, right? So I wonder if it's just a matter of like, if it's only two of them, like maybe we can break it up and just,
I do like, I
Like,
like
let
your
them-
idea though.
I wonder if it's like, they could each pick what they wanted to order from the
Yeah.
store or something and can run it up that day or something,
Yep.
depending, so that then everybody gets at least the option of doing it.
Mhm.
So now we're talking two separate events. I like it. But that's-
But, yeah.
But it makes sense, if we come here and meet town hall employees where they're at, it makes sense to go there and meet them where they're at as
Yeah.
well.
Right,
Yeah, and not like pull them out of their environment, you know.
Yeah,
right.
I think they would appreciate that.
so
Yeah.
what if we did here on the 6th? And we did the 7th at the transfer station, and the transfer station people could get notified, the ones that aren't working that day, if they'd like to come, that they would be more than welcome, to come to work on their day off. You know, but, I know that sounds a little
Or do
cheesy,
we-
but
Or do we find out when those other, where we cross paths, right? And maybe it's just,
Saturday,
you either
Sunday.
go, either we, you know, even if we split it up, like,
Mhm.
so that they get it at work, so it's equitable across the board, right?
Well, they're
Everybody
also-
gets it when they're there for a scheduled shift.
You got Thursday too, so if you did the 5th
Hmm.
and the 6th, right?
yeah.
Did 6.
So it's not like, hey, come in on Saturday because we're gonna give you pizza.
Right,
Yeah, true. See, that's what, I can't think of all these logistics.
right.
Just heard pizza and I went flatline.
Or like I've done, somebody once brought in, and someone gave, there's like a bouquet of cookies, you can do a cookie bouquet. So it could be something like you gift to the transfer station that they all get to share on their own time. They don't necessarily have to like all
Right.
be there congregating. But we're gonna be here,
Right,
except on a Friday. Usually we're short. Friday might not be the best day because some folks don't work Fridays.
Would we get all the transfer station employees on their shifts? Could we do Thursday and Saturday? Or would we have to do Thursday, Saturday,
How many of
Sunday?
No, you're not
Yeah.
gonna get all of them. Some of them are per diem and they just fill in once in a while. And then some of them work routinely. So
and
it's,
so then maybe to your point, we find something that's more like a non-perishable kind of,
Yeah.
like baked goods or something.
they honestly were very preferable of like a half day or a day off. Because I think with their schedule's wonkier than ours, so they work Saturdays. They never get like 2 days off in a row, the way their schedule typically is. Unless, although I'm not sure how Randy schedules them all. But yeah, I mean, they typically have to be higher staffed on a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So I
But
know.
I feel
How many employees do we have?
we,
Oh, you
10
missed
to
that
12.
part. We talked about that for a little bit.
I think you started
We
early.
did,
We
we
did
really
not.
did
We
talk
waited.
about it.
But
I waited
we were-
for you.
we were saying, like-
Yes.
I'll foil
I
you.
said, we'll give Dave a few minutes, all I gotta do is go to YouTube, Dave, we got you.
Like 10 to 12, give or take.
May I speak?
Yeah, this is a workshop,
Okay.
pretty chill.
If I was ever an employee, which was about 40 years ago, but if I was, I'd rather a day off. I'd rather you give me a day off and give me like a 3-day weekend or whatever. And it doesn't have to be everybody gets that same day off. It could be a rotating thing. Whenever somebody says, you can take, you put in a request, I want to take this Friday off. With that Friday, you get a $25, $50 a gift card or whatever. But the gift cards stay here. That way, okay, this person, check, this person took their appreciation day, and it clears everything up. I think it gives them a little boost of morale. To me, you give me a 3-day weekend with $50 in my pocket, I'm happy. That's just my thought. My thoughts die of loneliness sometimes.
I don't think it's a bad thought.
No, neither.
I think it's just a matter of either, in my thought process, it's either shut it all down one day. I don't know how logistically much of a nightmare it would be for you to try to stagger that, or just shut it down.
I think I agree. Your thoughts die lonely sometimes.
I don't know what makes it, what would make the difference if somebody calls in sick, right? Or if somebody calls in and says, I'd like to take next Friday off as my appreciation day. And you look at the scale, you see what's going on and you go, yep, no set. You put them down for it.
We do give 2 extra personal days. We added that to our personnel.
Perfect.
policy.
Give me my appreciation day, my 2 personal days, and I'm going away for a week.
I do kind of like the idea of
I'm just
like,
saying.
You're a manager's nightmare.
just like a
You're
nice
not
like
employee.
pizza, you know, and you guys can stop in, and then some gift cards, and you know, here you go. And then maybe some thank you notes, like handwritten notes and stuff.
When all this talk started a long while back,
Budget time.
two of these men weren't on the board yet. And it was gonna be something that we wanted to do for the employees to show appreciation. And it started off with talk about, you know, and then the barbecue and stuff, we cook for them, maybe we do this, maybe we do that. And that's how it started. But I'm kind of open to anything as long as is there a way, and I think the personal notes would do that, the way that I want them to know in my heart that I appreciate it, each and every one of the employees, because I really do.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying that because we're on the TV.
Now, this is gonna be
So,
a way out crazy idea, and I'm probably the only one that thinks it would be fun. But obviously, I mean, none of us are qualified to come in and like work behind the counter or anything like that. But maybe with some training, we could work a weekend at the transfer station. I don't know how that would work, like a volunteer, like we could volunteer, they would get the day off. Am I the only one that finds that to be like?
I mean, you used.
I'd rather shut that place
By the
down.
recycling.
I would be anywhere. I would be all over the place. I have pushed the button. They let me push the button before the compactor. So I have,
Wow.
I
you're
You have
in
some
it.
training.
I've had some training.
I kind of like, that doesn't.
I mean,
doesn't bother
because
me, that
like
idea.
logistically, like you said, there's like, they work every other day. They don't really get 2 days off in a row. So it would be nice if like,
Are you guys afraid of closing the town hall or closing the transfer station
Well, I
for
don't know.
like a day or a half day, or like Tuesday is at 8 to noon. Not the most like, I don't think it's a high traffic day because it's
Oh,
only
that's-
open
yeah,
4.
that's-
So if you gave them that, they'd
Right.
have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off.
Right,
okay.
which should be fine.
Like, it doesn't have to be a weekend, you know, because I
Yeah,
know those are
okay,
busier
no, that's-
days and people need to like do their trash and stuff.
Right,
And I think those guys would understand that.
yeah, probably.
What about the guys that don't work on the Tuesday?
Hello?
Well, they'd already have it off, huh?
I'm sorry?
They'd already have it off, so they'd get a gift card, right? Like everyone else.
Wouldn't they all?
Yeah, but they wouldn't get any time
So
off.
here's my only HR advice. It's gotta be equitable across the board,
Yeah.
or else it's asking for
Mhm.
an issue.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it's probably easier to just all in one. Well, I guess it isn't for the transfer station, that's the whole point of that conversation.
Well, that's what I was thinking, like, I've done for like group homes and stuff, like I did like like the fruit bouquet. So it's just something that can like be shared, you know, or a cookie bouquet. You can do things that are like non-perishable
Mhm.
that can sit in the office for a few days and be shared among everybody. So everybody gets a chance to have some. Good, you know, pizza is great, but then like it gets
Yeah.
cold or it gets stale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like here's easier, but the transfer station gets into it.
So let's maybe work backwards a little bit here. So I think what I heard is that we're all on board with the gift card concept.
Mhm.
So $50 gift cards times 12 employees would be $600.
Yeah, so
I don't know
I don't know
what the
how
rules are
many-
about taxable, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, we have stipend employees, we have,
You told me 10 to
full-time.
12 employees.
I
so
said
now we
give or
gotta-
take. I said give or take, I don't know.
Time for the max.
Which is why I did 12.
I would probably go up to 15 just because I don't know. I can get a number, but I'm sorry. But I'm like, what about your stipend, right? You have your ACO, your GA, local health officer, like our stipend employees. Planning board is employees technically. You know, do you want to include all of them or do you want to leave it to like full-time, part-time, like the day-to-day operations people?
Hourly?
I was
Hourly
thinking
salary?
day-to-day hour, like,
Okay. Then
at my work, we
you're,
call them like regular.
then yeah, you're
Horrible to
probably
say it
like
that
10
way,
to
I guess,
12.
probably about regular employees,
Mhm.
not stipend, not ad comps, not temp, not.
Okay. So yeah, then you're safe to say like 10 to 12.
Okay. But so 12 would be $600 out of that
Mhm.
budget.
Mhm.
If we did that. That's the easy part, I think.
Mhm.
And then now it's like, what's next?
If I can't work at the transfer station, I guess the next best thing is then having.
If I can't work at the
Tuesday.
transfer station. Oh, no, you can.
All I'll say, what I will say
And
is
just
that
can't get
our,
paid.
so my grounds team had the president, think that it was helpful for him to come join the crew one day. And I will just say that that did not go over as an appreciated, like, yay, it was so great. It was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, no, I was thinking like they wouldn't even be there, so they wouldn't even know until they came back,
That's
like.
like the biggest.
I think it would give them anxiety.
I think like it's me.
What's
Yeah.
going to be broken when we get back?
Nothing, I would not break anything, I promise.
Well, we wouldn't on purpose, but
Right? 'Cause
things
if
happen.
I can
They
break
go
a
on
hammer.
pools and-
Then maybe Dave's idea of like you get an extra day isn't a bad idea. You know,
Whoa.
like here's a gift card and then pick your extra day that you want. I should have never doubted you.
Done.
Wow.
That's, listen, I'm just saying, if I was an employee, I would think you guys were the best. Give me the day off, give me $50. I'm thrilled. And maybe a personalized thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
That's an
I
automatic.
think that's
You
the
know?
one, that's the key right there.
It really is. And people still have them at my work.
Individualized cards or
Yeah, just thank you cards usually.
prefer that?
Yeah, like-
Whenever that's happened before, more recent history that I wrote them, then everybody signed them.
Can we do it as a board so it's not like weird? I don't want to be writing out.
Yeah, so
I
was
really
thinking, like,
appreciate you.
Here's the only thing,
That's-
you can't copy what I write.
Yes.
And I say that because
Well,
that's exactly
So
what
what
people
did-
at
which
my
it
work
could be
did.
weird.
I wrote out like 100 cards to my team, and then all the other people after were just like so annoyed, and then they just started like using all the little phrases that I wrote. And I was like, come on.
So I could get
There's
some
only 12,
cards
so-
and then each of you, like when you have time, could probably stop in and just handwrite your notes.
Yeah.
We'll need lists.
Mhm.
And then we'll know if it's 12 or 15 or 10.
Or 20. Yeah.
Right.
Or
That
20.
would probably be important to know that, so we could stay in budget.
It's got to
No,
happen.
I don't want to go volunteering anyone for extra writing, but I will just say maybe we can still. I know we just said that we weren't going to do like an item or a day off or something for all the stipend and other employees. Do we want to do like a thank you card?
Well, I think you're the writer of the crew.
I love to write thank you cards. I geek out pretty hard, but yeah. Anyway,
I'm fairly good at it. It's just one big run-on sentence.
oh boy.
Okay, so can we recap that where we're
Yeah.
at now?
So
Yes,
we're doing
please.
handwritten thank you cards.
Okay,
$50.
We are doing $50 gift cards,
These are-
okay,
like
To
these
like the
are,
regular employees.
And a day off.
Yeah.
And a day off. And then probably get thank you cards for everybody.
just get enough thank you cards.
Yeah.
And I might regret that later as I'm here for hours writing
Braced.
next notes.
I'll come
to
down
people.
and write with you.
Perfect.
I will help.
And we'll figure out a way with Randy to like stagger days off so everybody gets a turn up there. there a way for him to work?
We are
this?
hiring per diem, so that'll help.
I just wanna make sure it's even, that's all. Awesome. Anything else we need to think about for that? Are the cards something that, like, how would we do that? Should I just?
Sell
what should we
boxes. of
Yeah, they sell
Thank you cards
boxes,
at dollar
do? Oh,
stores
yeah, I
and
have like a
stuff.
billion,
They don't even have to say anything. We can say it all.
I'm just saying logistically is all I'm saying,
Do
like,
you want me to pick it up with the budget, or
Yeah.
do you, okay.
I just think that was my question, like,
Yeah, I
How
would
do we
probably just go
logistically do
to
it?
like wherever and get like a box,
Yeah.
a couple different boxes of different cards.
Or we could get some paper mache and bring it to a workshop and
just because one idea landed doesn't mean that one's gonna happen.
We're gonna make doilies?
yeah.
I can't picture that.
Only if it's a Friday night workshop.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Anything else that we need to figure out for that? I think we covered that.
I think
I think we like turned a complete
We just
180
went-
and maybe did a little bit of a donut
Okay.
on the way
Yeah.
around from where it started.
So look at us now,
Holy smokes.
and we'll reassess and see where we're at, how it goes, what
Okay.
people think as we get the budget ready next year, before we know it.
Perfect.
All right, shifting gears over to performance evaluation assessment, what do we want to call it, for town manager position. So that is up to this board to complete. We've got a bunch of documentation here in front of us. There's the two sort of generic documents that just talk about what it is, why it's important, different ways to do it, sort of some of the maybe do's and don'ts around it. And then there's some forms. I think if I remember correctly, last time, even in the brief discussion we had, we all agreed that kind of one of the less is more, and that coming up with mathematical scores probably wasn't really the way we wanted to go.
I actually like what I've seen from the town of Lyman so far. To me, it makes the most sense.
It was consistent.
It is consistent. It's too many words in some of these other ones.
Yep.
Is this the one that we give our employees?
Yeah, if it says town alignment, yes.
Done. Look at that. So well done.
Everyone on board with that, because I liked it as well. It's very similar to the
I am.
one that I had
Yep.
shared.
Good.
Very straightforward. So that being said, I guess really it's just a matter of logistically how we would, what our next steps would be. I think one of our the most important next step in my opinion would be to have Lindsay complete the employee version, right?
Yep.
And provide it back to us so that then we have her input and feedback and thoughts.
I wonder, since there's 5 of us though.
Yep.
Do we formulate a questionnaire or have one formulated that asks us questions? Or what I was worked up a little bit was, I had 3 questions for each of us.
Mhm.
And these are just examples, but this is where my mind was going. Overall, how do you think the town is progressing this past year? That could be a question for both of us. And what are the examples of things the board has improved on, or yourself? And what are the examples of the thing that the town manager has improved on and ourselves? And kind of compare these kinds of questions amongst ourselves. The 5 of us would have questions and she would have questions, and then we get together and shoot the breeze. And if it's a contract year, you add a question, and it's, do you want to continue the relationship? Or
So like on top of these, you
Continue.
mean?
or somehow, like, I just see this, well, this would, this the questions,
Yeah,
you know, somebody has to fill them out.
so Lindsay fills this one in and gives it to us, and then there's just
Yeah,
this
okay.
section. right?
Because really, if you get down to the heart of the matter, we all work together.
Yep.
We've
Agreed.
figured out a way to work together from the time the town manager was incepted, position was incepted until now. I feel like there's things we've done really well, and I feel like there was things that we could have improved on and did, and I don't know what it looks like moving forward. But I know that doing this evaluation is very important to me, because I feel like in this, we're overdue for it this year. I think it should be done toward the end of the fiscal year, so that the people that were on the board of the year get to do the evaluation. I think that's fair to everyone involved.
When we did the personnel policy for the employees, we put it in there that we would do it, I think, by December. So like, all the annual reviews I'll be doing at the same time, because then it lines up with the budget. So if it was like, we wanted to look at goal setting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, we could maybe tie that in, right? Like town managers and employee, maybe you kind of look at, you know, around this time to December.
For
annual
like, for
review.
next year, I feel like we're overdue, like we already
Yeah.
owe, I feel like we should, that's my
Yeah.
personal opinion, we should do it sooner rather than later, and then in the future, we can decide when that is. If you get eval'd again in, 6 or 8 months, I don't see a problem with that either, or how it lines up, I
To
don't
get
know.
caught up, yeah.
I mean, but where I went with those questions was because we are in a partnership also, and it's interesting to know where everybody's at.
Mhm.
Like, in that, to me, I thought that was it's just communication. But I really do, I mean, I do like these.
I mean, the way I would, like, what I would do with this is, so I'd probably fill it out, and then I'd set up an executive session, and then in that session, you guys can review what I filled out. Like, I would not distribute this via email, because it's technically confidential until it's all done and set with. But, and so it might kind of prolong the process a little bit, but that's how I would deal with it, and then we can either sit in executive session together.
Just like we are now.
Yeah,
Talk.
pretty much.
We-
And those are good questions to ask, you know. I think those 3 questions you came up with, and that would be certainly something we can discuss it. and
I like
fill
the
out
questions guiding the conversation. I guess as far as just having a physical product that goes in your personnel file, that's where I wanna make sure we land somehow collectively as a board of 5.
Yeah.
Which gets a little bit trickier, I guess, isn't that?
I know, like, how are you guys gonna document all 5 of your input? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I'm thinking, like, as I look at this form, I guess I'm kind of just looking at it from, and honestly looking to the back as far as.
Because one's really just like a questionnaire to guide the conversation, and then one is like an
Right.
assessment tool.
Well, and the front where you would put an evaluator ranking, like we could easily, I'll put our ranking out of those 3 and just take the average of the 5 and put it as the evaluator ranking. It's when you get into the back as far as the, evaluator section. But I guess we could, it's really just mostly 2 items that we could probably just talk through together
Yeah.
and kind of come up with the.
I mean, the
numbers to
way
plug in.
I've done it in my history is like, I'll have the employee rate themselves and say, maybe they rate themselves like really high, but I rate them a little bit lower. It's a
Right.
conversation, and sometimes
Yeah,
we figure out like, why did you rate yourself this high? You know, we may come to an agreement, and then I change my rating, or vice versa.
mhm.
So that's how I've always dealt with it, is we start with that rating, but it has changed for me either
Yeah.
one way or the other. In just having conversations and getting more feedback, like, you know, how did you get to that determination?
Okay. So would it be fair to say, would it be enough time, we're Monday now, would a week be enough time for you to do this, your part of this, for an executive session for our next meeting on Monday? Next Monday, the 19th,
Yeah, I might be able to look it up.
or the next one, if that makes, I don't wanna like,
September would probably be better. But I could try. So again, like I usually hand these out to folks and then just sort of like let them work on it.
yeah,
And then if I have to like, hey, remember I gave you that? You know, but
Yeah.
typically they get back.
I just don't want us to be delinquent on it.
Oh, yeah.
Much longer, I
Um,
also don't wanna be like, oh, hey, we were delinquent, so you better get on that.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
fair either.
It's just like I start the process of creating the agenda packet now. So I'm like
Mhm.
already in the throes of doing that. So if I have time, I can get to this. I'll put it on the next agenda, but it might not be till September 3rd. So I'll
Yeah.
make an effort to squeeze it in
And so
for
then
the
what,
19th.
whichever one,
Mhm.
we would have an executive session on the agenda. Go into executive session, we would all have or we would have to come in and see yours, because it wouldn't be in the packet necessarily.
I mean, you
Yeah.
could, like, if I could basically reach out and be like, hey, I'm all done with my if you guys want, like, when you're coming in to write out thank you
Yeah.
notes, you could be like, here you go, you can review this while you're sitting here.
Yeah.
So,
And then we can go into executive session, we'll hopefully have had a chance to look at that, or we can just all go through it together as a
Mhm.
conversation. We can do the evaluator rankings and kind of talk through the narrative. Does that make sense to everyone? I don't wanna be the only decider here.
No, that makes sense to me.
Okay.
Have never had to evaluate an employee.
Me
So
either.
this is
It's
way
just,
out of
it's like
my,
this, it's literally
like,
just like
literally
this. It's
this.
so,
just-
yeah, so I am like, yes. feel
And
free to
we're
take the
also-
lead and I will.
In pretty regular contact with Lindsay, so it would be pretty, it should be a pretty smooth process, I would think.
yeah, and I think to your comment, like the evaluators section, I don't know how you guys want to work that out. You know,
Yeah, I think.
do you come to a consensus and summarize it? I don't know.
Yeah, I think we can talk through just a brief narrative, and that's all it's looking for on this
Yeah.
form. Again, this is so that you have something in your personnel file that, if, somebody says, well, blah, 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 what the heck is she doing? We're like, "Nope, we've done our performance evaluations all right along, we've done it. Or, what I end up running into oftentimes, and this is not the case here, I'll preface it by saying, is that a lot of times people will be like, oh my gosh, like, John Smith's so awful, we need to get rid of him, and I'll be like, well, then why did you say he was awesome on his review every single year?
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm starting at ground zero here. So. Anyway.
Okay.
All that works for everybody?
You good?
Sound good?
You good?
Awesome. Okay. Nothing else related to employee appreciation or town manager performance assessment. Perfect.
37 minutes. I'm very, very, very proud of you all.
You
That
keep
37
saying,
minutes
you
you
for
keep
us?
saying
Yeah,
you are,
yeah,
like,
for
you're
you it
not
was like
part of it.
As if
34
it was
minutes.
37.
Yeah,
for us,
I get 34
30
minutes.
something.
If I could I just toss one thing out there real quick?
Sure.
I gave Lindsay a little overview of the AARP Age-Friendly Community Program application, all that. If I'm understanding it correctly, it's not heavily weighted with the demographic and statistical information. It's more qualitative. And Lindsay, would it be okay if this document was shared with the other members so they can look it over for the agenda on Monday? No?
I mean, it's going to be in the agenda, but I don't
Okay.
understand why you keep asking me these things. Because you've approached me a couple of times on like what my consensus is for
I'm just trying
some.
to follow procedure correctly.
Okay. Yeah, you can share it. You guys can disseminate information. And I think it's helpful,
All right.
but it will be, if you ask for it to be in the agenda, it'll be on the agenda packet as well.
All right. The reason why I would like to see these in advance is because, again, it's asking for more qualitative information, quantitative information. If you take a look at the key questions that they asked on the application, come in with some suggestions, then it'll be easier to consolidate those answers and get the application in.
So when I put this on the agenda, like, what is it that you want from your peers?
To be able to take a look at this, look at the key questions in particular, and come in prepared for discussion of that.
Is this the Buckernut?
Yeah, well,
The
Right.
AARP?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But it wouldn't, I mean, if I'm understanding correctly, it wouldn't be just for like Bunganut, right?
Oh, no,
It could be
by
in
no
other
means.
aspects around
Parks
the
and
town.
Rec,
Yeah.
yeah, oh, yes,
Okay.
indeed.
So,
Yeah, it'd be a
Cool.
great program to get into.
So the questions that they ask are what kind of community activities you have, what you would like to see.
Mhm.
For example, Parks and Rec is doing the fundraising campaign for the playground at Chadbourne.
Yeah.
That's one thing we could add in there as what we're trying to do for, again, not just those of a certain upper age bracket,
Mhm.
but for the entire community, age-friendly
Mhm.
across the spectrum.
Awesome.
So, fabulous.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'd be more than happy to review your information.
great. I'll send it out to y'all
okay.
in a Word document.
Yeah, that's fine.
Will do.
Thank you.
set?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, thank you.
I can't let it be July anymore, though, that was so distracting. I didn't want to tear this off on microphone.